This is Lewis Art for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. I'm delighted today to be joined with the Wonder Kid, Mr. Ben Whittaker. How are we, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. Like I said, training. It's another day in the life, man. Nothing new, nothing old. Same old rubbish.
Yeah, now you got to do all the boring media stuff, but you're back out in May. I'm sure you can't wait to sort of be back. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'll be back in people's mouths very soon. May 6th is when I take it by storm again. I've let people have the little limelight, do what they gotta do, but May 6th, the show starts again.
How good does it feel to be back again, after sort of suffering with the injuries and sort of not really, it didn't fight since August. For just turning pro, is that sort of a frustrating thing for you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a nuisance just for the simple fact, like, it was all going well, finally getting the fights, doing what I need to do, but I'd rather that now than later in my career. And the main thing is I train too hard sometimes, so I just gotta listen to my body. But to me, that's not a bad thing. I'd rather get injured from overtraining from than not training. So I know what I'm doing is right. I just need to just calm it down a little bit. So
Yeah.
all good.
Would you say this sort of overtraining's been since you turned over pro, or have you always sort of been like it when you were in the amateurs, going up to the Olympics, or is it like adapting sort of the pro training, would you say?
Yeah, I've been like it since a little kid, man. I'm one of them people. It's all or nothing. I'm either 100% in or 100% out. And as soon as I got into the boxing gym, I used to mess around. I used to get tired and things. And I thought, from 14, I thought I never want to feel like this again. So I just made sure I leave no stone unturned. And sometimes it works perfectly. I'm super fit, or sometimes it can work against me, and I've either overtrained or I'm a little bit injured. But like I said, I've listened to my body now. I've got the right people around me to tell me when to rest, when to have the massages, the physio. And I think with that in my game now and that in my locker, I'm laughing.
How would you say you adapted your sort of training from the pro style over to the amateurs? Because obviously amateurs are very fast paced, where pros sort of, would you say there's a lot of difference with the training? Obviously with a different
Uh,
coach as well.
for me, no, because I've always trained kind of like a pro. Even in the amateurs, I had like I used to take my time and pick my shots. So for me, all it is just more rounds. But for me, I say the main thing is just mental. If you're mentally with it, you'll go far. If you're mentally weak, you'll fall short. And luckily enough, like I said, I've got the confidence. I'm mentally strong. So all it is just when do I show how good I am?
Yeah. What would you say these sort of almost coming up to sort of 2 years since you're at the Olympics? What would you say this sort of these 2 years have been like? Sort of would you say it's been frustrating? Would you say at times where you sort of haven't been getting the fights? At times you obviously had the stuff with the promoter, and then you also had the injury. Has it sort of been a frustrating 2 years? Would you say?
Yeah, but pro boxing's come across as this big this and that. That's the best thing. People could tell you, oh, turn pro. But when you turn pro, you're like, this is a bit long, man. If I'm honest, as an amateur, you just get on about your business. You just go and fly around the country. You fight here, fight there. That's it. But when you come pro, there's a lot that comes with it. But luckily enough, I'm experiencing it now. And not only that, when I was a top level amateur, I kind of experienced it. Then there was always media, there was always expectations, this and that. So I'm already prepared for it. But yeah, the program's a bit weird. It's a weird one.
It's funny because do you know what? I was watching a previous interview with Fraser Clark, and he literally said the exact same thing you were saying there, where he was talking about the training where you're sort of like you're staying consistent, but the pro game it's just a lot different. So would you say you agree with a lot of stuff there? I can see sort of the similarities.
Yeah, I say the training no, because for me, I'm always on it. I'm always ticking over. If I'm not got a fight coming up, I'm always in the gym. I'm always trying to learn, and I think if you stay like that, you will get better. But you do see a lot of people just fight for the dates. So they'll chill, do what they've got to do, play the games, go out, drink, this, that. Then, oh, I've got a date, 6 weeks, get ready.
Yeah.
I, I think eventually that will catch you out. So for me, I've always been on it. But like, yeah, it's just the other little things, like you said. You come out the amateur games, there's all these contracts that you think, what the hell is this? There's people that you don't know who are now part of your
Yeah.
team that you you have to talk to daily. You know, who the hell is this? So it is a weird one. It's a lot of adapting, but I'm sure, like you said, it's only 2 years in. 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, you'll get more comfortable and you'll be fine.
Yeah. How would you say you just a thing you mentioned there? You talked about sort of people who train you like within like when they only get a certain date. How much benefit do you have to training where you're always in the gym? Because someone like I mentioned another boxer, but someone like Bernard Hopkins, he's known for he said this, he said he used camps to like get away from his family. He
Yeah.
was always in shape. So having that sort of benefit to always be in shape, and then when because you never know when the call will come. When the call comes, you're ready.
I think that's just it's always been installed in me as a kid. I think you just got to be ready whenever. And not only that, I just think it's the person I am. I could never just sit down and not want to learn, not want to work. I'm always in shape. Like you said, now camp for me is just fine tuning. And that's what I'm so happy about. I'm already in shape. All I've got to do is just little sharpen here, sharpen there, learn this, a bit more tactical stuff with Sugar and Joby. And I think that's the best way to be. When you come into camp and you're just worrying about getting fit, making weight, all that learning you could have done has gone down the drain. So I think just staying on it from a young, early age is the best way to be.
Yeah. I know it's hard to say because you've only had a sort of a couple of pro fights, but would you say like your training would remain a lot of the same stuff that you're doing? So say eventually when you get to sort of fighting the 10, 12 rounders, it's only just sort of the little improvements you'd say?
100%. I think each day is a learning day. And I've got my coach Joby Clayton with me day to day. And then when I'm in camp, I'm with Sugar. But the good thing is with Sugar, we always stay connected. We're a phone call away. And I think the main thing is for me is just keeping my brain ticking. Tactically, what would you do against this opponent? How would you break down this opponent? And different things like that. Boxing's a chess game. We can all be fit, we can all be strong, but it's whose mind's working the best. And I think for me, it's just got to keep my brain just going, keep my brain going, different scenarios, different things. And I think when you get to that point where you think you've learned it all, there's still more you can learn.
Absolutely. You mentioned there about you've always sort of been used to the media, and that's always sort of been about the amateur game. When you have such pressure on you and you have such high pressure to perform, how do you sort of deal with all those things, coming from the Olympics and all these sorts of things, like mentally, the pressure that comes with it? Everyone's talking about you. How would you say you deal with sort of stuff like that?
I deal with it fine just for the simple fact no one puts more pressure on themselves than myself. I know where I can be. You hear it all the time, Ben Whittaker this, oh, he's destined for this, but I put that on myself since a young kid. I said to myself when I started boxing, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it properly. I want to get to the very top. I'm not there yet, but I know I will be. So that's all I've got to do is just keep striving for that. It's just like materializing in my head. I will be, I can be, and I think one of the days it will happen.
How would you say you sort of deal with the outside pressures of in the pro game? You were someone when, you came out the Olympics, you were highly touted by, all the big three promoters in the UK, all wanted a piece of you. And I'm sure with that, you're going to get a lot of people in your ear where they're going to be saying, oh, go here, go there. You read all these sorts of stuff and they're like, oh, Ben should go here, Ben should go there. How do you deal with those sorts of pressure where everyone's sort of putting pressure on you to sign somewhere? You're like, who's he going to sign for? How do you deal with that? And, all these sorts of people in your ear.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Like you said, you come from the Olympics where everything's kind of set up for you. You've got your own house there. You know what tournaments are coming up. All you need to do is turn up and train. Then you come out, you got people throwing money at you, telling you this, do that. It's like, geez, just let me chill out for a sec. My body just got off the plane. But all I can say is we make mistakes on the way, but as long as I'm making the right ones, and that's why I bring people on board like my lawyer, my management team. I've got my dad still with me, and I've got a great team around me where if I do feel like it's not the right thing or I need to ask somebody, I can ask them. You've got people like AJ who's been there, done it. I can ask him. And so for me, I'm around good people that I can ask if they've made any mistakes and things like that. But at the end of the day, it don't matter what route I took, as long as I get in there and win, that's I'll get to where I need to get no matter what.
That's it. You just mentioned your dad there. Is it important to have like a strong family member there who's been with you since young? Like, when you're sort of going through all this transition, he's that sort of figure that you can look to where he's going to guide you in that certain way.
100%. I've got a great team. I've got my mom. She don't know nothing about boxing, but she's always she don't know what the
Yeah.
hell's going on. Truthfully, Even in my first fight, when I stopped the kid, she was acting like I got stopped. I was like, "Come on, video." But that's just mom, sadly. Then my dad, he's been a boxer, so he knows what I'm going through. If there's anything I need from him, he'll always help me. I've got my brother with me, and then like you said, I've got Joby, SugarHill, so I'm pretty nice. And but for me, like you said, training camp is a way to get from all that muddy cuddling, baby Ben, all that rubbish. Go to camp just to lock in. So I'm flying to Miami next week, and I'm gonna lock in.
Well, you signed with a promoter, signed with boxer. Had two fights now, but you look at sort of the signs that they've made, especially sort of looking in your division with guys like they just signed Joshua Buatsi. Obviously, Dan Aziz is on a great tear. Domestically, light heavyweight scene within yourself is flying. Where would you say you sort of? I know you're going to rank yourself at the top, but mixing yourself with the best, and is it good to have a goal where you look at people like Buatsi and you look at Aziz and you say, "I want what they've got."
Yeah, 100%. I know 100% what I can do to those type of people and the other guys in the division. But at the end of the day, talk is cheap. I'm 2 fights in. I've still got a lot to learn. And there's you gotta pay your dues, man. You've got to fight the right people, get the titles. But I know when the time comes and those people do pop up, it's not if, it's when I beat those kids.
Do you feel like they're already keeping an eye on you, even though you sort of had two pro fights?
100% the cannot. You know what I mean? I'm kind of the if you look at all those guys that can all bang, that can all stand there and have a go, they've all got an engine. I can do all that, but can they move like me? Can they jab and move and be speedy and be evasive like me? I don't think they can. So, no, I mean, I'm definitely the person that don't want to fight. And like I said, I'm only 2 fights in. What about when I'm 10, 15, 20 fights in, an experienced veteran professional fighter? It's going to be scary. So, I say the more time they leave me, the better I'm gonna get.
Do you set goals for yourself then? Like, would you say like, oh, at the end of the year I want to be at this place, or give me 10 fights, I want to be there? How would you sort of set goals for yourself?
I used to, yeah, like you heard me, I have 5 fights, Dan Aziz
Yeah,
this,
that's
and
what. Yeah, that's what I mean.
so I do like to set things like that, but kind of like this little injury time out. I've had time
Yeah.
to reflect, and all I want to do is just keep winning spectacular. I think the more you win spectacular, the more performances you put on, the more you get into better positions. If you just like a win is a win, but if you do scrape a win where it's a bit like, what's that? You can get forgotten about. You can get pushed to the back of the pile. For me, it's just winning spectacular, putting bums on seats, being entertaining, and when the time's there for me, take all the titles I need to take.
Well, you mentioned sugar numerous times. I got my crunk top on that you noticed.
And you
Um,
knew what you, man. You put
yeah,
your best
cool.
time.
Cool, mate. And what's it like when you turn pro with a guy like him who's, in the gym day in, day out, he's got great fighters, he's working with great fighters, having that push from him where your styles gel so nicely.
Yeah, it's like you said, I'm a student of the game, so I've watched all the old time fighters, and my actual all time fighter was a fighter called Mario Kendallin, is a Cuban, but professional with Tommy Hearns,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, so Tommy
See
Hearns is
so many
tall.
similarities, mate.
Oh
So
yeah,
many.
he's tall, got a beautiful jab, nice body shot, beautiful chopping right hand. And I thought, out of everybody who's been around those type of people, Sugar. When I seen Sugar, the first thing you said, "Oh, you remind me a bit of a Tommy." I was like, huh, hearing that from you is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody knows me as a hit and move counter puncher, but what can I bring in now? A bit more venom in my shots. That's what Sugar likes. So all I'm trying to do now is marry the two. We're still early on in our relationship, but I think the more fights, the more camp time we spend together, we're only going to get better.
What's it like sort of having a Coley there as now part of stable? Obviously now you're the same promoter, now you're in the same stable as well. Must sort of be a good person that's obviously squat a similar weight to you, sort of at a bigger weight, which must be good.
100%. We're looking to do some rounds. Like I said, I was in camp with him on the last one, but I wasn't sparring.
Yeah.
So either this camp or whenever he's getting ready, I'll definitely jump in there with him. Just for the simple fact he's bigger, can lean on me, use his weight. And I just think I'll just pick up things from him. At the end of the day, he's a world champion in his own right. He's undefeated. And I think being around those type of mindsets and those type of people, you're only going to pick up things.
Yeah. yeah, I was gonna say, like, where would you say your mind is at the moment? Because when you're hanging around, you said guys like AJ, you know, Coley, who
Yeah,
are world champions, being like that. Would you say, like, mentally, you're already a step above a lot of contenders?
100%. I'll never like belittle people, but some of these people they're in gyms with people that's just come off the street. You know, like keep fitters. They're just coming to have a laugh. Well, I'm in the gym with real competitors, real champions, ex-world champions, world ranked fighters, and I think that energy, that aura, it just bounces around the gym. And if I'm seeing somebody who's getting ready for a world title or to defend the world title, doing what they got to do, I'm thinking, you know, I need to be like that, or I need to train harder than that. Then he wants to train harder than me. Then it's kind of, I like that type of thing where you could easily walk into the gym and be the star boy. No one's there to push you. And I think
Yeah,
eventually that'll push you off. So I think having them hungry fighters around you, always wanting to test you each and every day, it's only going to push me on. And not only that, for me, I'm a person who likes to show off. So I like to come. I like to come to the gym and outwork people. I like to come to the gym and spar good, and I think that keeps me on my on my game.
gonna say, yeah, it's funny that you said that about being around world champions because obviously that's someone, and this isn't a disrespect to like obviously his former coaches at all, but obviously someone like AJ who's fighting this week and him being with Derek James, it was like he almost needed to have that sort of like be around Spence, be around Charlo, guys like that, not be the biggest guy in the gym.
Hundred
Yeah,
percent. That's a hungry gym, and like you said, he's gone from like you said, the biggest guy in the gym, the star, the man. He can walk in when he wants. I don't know if he was doing that, but he could have easily
yeah,
done that. He could have, you know what? I'll turn it when I want. Where he's going into a gym where you've got the Errol Spencers, you've got the Charlos, you've got people like that. And they'll be like, "Yo, if you don't turn up, man, we don't
yeah,
need you because we've got other people in the gym."
of
So
course, yeah.
I think given that mentality to go, okay, I'm not the person I am back at home. I need to switch on, and that's why I do like being in those situations. Take you out your comfort zone and make sure rise your game. And if you don't, you sadly fall off.
Definitely.
Sorry,
One
mate. We
thing
just
you,
have one last question, just because I think Ben's got another interview too
yeah.
after this one.
Cool. So yeah, so I'll wrap this up now. You talked about being an entertainer. Um, obviously boxing is about winning fights and that, but having the sort of the entertainment side of it as well, and being a big draw must be a good thing for yourself as well.
Yeah, all I can say is get your popcorn, man. Tune in or come down to Birmingham Resorts World on May 6th for something special. Forget the other guys on the card. Come and watch me, and the rest is the rest. Know what I mean?
You said it, man. Ben, honestly, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Good for the first time. I appreciate it, mate. All the best for May the 6th, man. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Take care, bro.